right? We have the need, the intent to innovate, to change. That produces pressure. And then that produces the need, in my opinion, at least from what I'm hearing from what you're saying, the key words there, communication, trust, that human element, right? But I would like to not break the clicker, that's a good start. But I feel from you, Yuka, that you have something to say about all this, so please.
Well, actually, I was gonna say, three C's, actually. The first C is creativity, and second C is communication, and third C is connection. So I was thinking that with the whole AI, implementation, what we were able to do was, AI really kind of gave us like a lot of creative options. And also with help with AI, our communication is a lot more like enhanced and then refine everything. And now, actually with this model, we're actually able to engage like a whole new segment of people in our organization to help us with this production process, and it created like a new community actually. So that that is like a whole new level of engagement, and that's the connection that that we gain. So that's the three C that I was thinking of. But at the same time, when we heard from the keynote speaker, right, about the whole like being responsibly implementing AI, that's something that I think that we all have to kind of keep in mind to hold us accountable for to be responsible when we implement AI.
Working with your works, because it was a little bit of a barrier in the beginning to figure out a way how to use this particular LLM. It was really a pleasure to find out in a week or two that I could use it and run some experiments and actually have some data that I could share internally and say this is possible. So,
but would you say your motivation came more from a company mandates than curiosity, or was it a little bit of both?
Well, there was curiosity too, right? I mean, we're all watching this movie and we're all seeing all the possibilities unfold in front of us. So, I mean, we were playing with ideas like, how do I find out whether I have a hallucination, right? So, okay, you translate from English to Japanese, and then you translate it back to English, and you compare, is this English original semantically and structurally the same as the new one, or is it different? If it's different, it's probably a hallucination. So we played a little bit with that, but I have to say that there's, with Insights, the smells, the platform, I think it's less expensive to be doing those workflows. I mean, I had segments that the segment itself was, how do you write a good blog? Well, I have to translate that sentence. And when you send that to AI gives you a text this long, that's how you write a blog. But I wanted to translate how do you write a blog in Japanese, not the answer. So, there are lots of different cases where you kind of learn how to interact with AI.
Of course, that pressure generates that the people and the companies and all the players in the industry are out of their comfort zone. And when you are out of the comfort zone, you don't feel comfortable, and you have to move in one direction, and there is no other alternative. So, of course, people doesn't like to change, is against change. Companies are naturally against change, and you have to force the company to move forward, you have to force the people to move forward, and you have to convince them. We were talking yesterday about that, and I think that you have to have ambassadors inside the company that try to generate another perspective more related to, okay, we are comfortable with the change. And of course, it's not easy, it's a process, but again, we were a language service provider for more than 20 years, and we started seeing that if the translators doesn't want to consider the memories and blah blah blah, and you know that history too. So we don't know where we are going to go or how it's going to change. There are things that yesterday we were talking to that, for example, there is a lot of cases that it's easier to generate new content in different languages than to translate it. And our clients are requesting that. And we are doing that. And we don't know, we know how to do it, we don't know how to charge it, for example. And we don't know if we are leaving money on the table or we have to be at that price and those kind of things. But we have to move forward and find a way. And I believe that this is the only way out for LSPs that, again, I think that they are in the worst situation from all the players in this industry right now. But they have to find a way, and they should find where they do add value. That's it.
Well, my job is to relieve this pressure you have. And one of the things that we do, and we talk about that all the time, so with Gabriel, with our CTO Enrique, is in terms of technology, in terms of like this technical problems that you may have, that you may face, virtually we can resolve pretty much anything with technology. So that's one thing. But there's another thing that's more important, in my opinion, and I have been talking about that a lot recently, that I do agree with Gabriel on it, not only because you're the CTO, the CEO, but because I agree with you, and it's because it's that the human piece on that. So what I try to do is to make sure that I really understand our clients' needs, and I try to bridge that and make sure that our product is evolving in a direction that makes sense. And more specifically to this topic, how do we do that? So by having these conversations and talking to Gustavo, talking to Yuka, to Luciano, and they're saying, okay, so what are your goals with AI in the process? So why do you want to introduce AI into your process? And then I can help you and point you to the right direction and how we're going to achieve that. Okay, so we want to reduce costs. Okay, there's a way to do it. Do you want to reduce the time to market? That's fine. Let's talk more about that. So the first thing we do is to establish that and build that kind of trust with our partners, with the people that we work with, and then we finally start talking about, okay, so how are we going to get there? As soon as you have that established, okay, so what are your needs, what are our goals, and then we can start like building true goals.
Okay, so